Imagine this. You start the day with a multivitamin, a hair and nails gummy at lunch, a heart support capsule after dinner. It feels safe, like seatbelts for your metabolism. But here's the twist many people miss. Some vitamin habits, especially at high doses or stacked across multiple products, may nudge your heart in the wrong direction. Not because vitamins are bad, but because dose, interactions, and timing matter more than the label ever tells you. I'll keep everything in clear language and grounded in real research. This video is educational. It doesn't replace care from your own clinician. Let's clear up the most common mistake right away. More is not better. Your heart prefers steady, appropriate doses, not megadoses, not surprises. With that in mind, let's walk through the vitamins most likely to cause trouble when used the wrong way, what the science actually suggests, and how to keep your routine heart smart. First, a quick map for your brain as you listen. Every time you hear me mention a vitamin, listen for 4 things: what it is, why the heart might care, one piece of evidence, and the practical move you can make today. No fear, just clarity. Let's start with vitamin E, the poster child for good intentions that go sideways when the dose creeps up. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant, which means your body stores it. That storage is a double-edged sword. At higher doses, it can thin blood and shift bleeding risk. A large follow-up to a cardiovascular trial reported that people assigned to long-term vitamin E had more heart failure hospitalizations, a reminder that even protective antioxidants can backfire at scale. The takeaway isn't to fear vitamin E, it's to avoid high-dose capsules unless your clinician specifically recommends them. Practical check. Open your cabinet and total your daily IU from your multivitamin, your skin, or immune blend, and any standalone E. If that total drifts toward the high-dose territory often seen in older supplements, scale back to a standard multivitamin range and let actual food, nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, do more of the work. Common mistake to avoid: stacking a high-dose E capsule on top of a multivitamin because antioxidants can't hurt. Shift to vitamin D, another fat-soluble nutrient whose popularity exploded. Vitamin D supports bone health and immune function, but your heart mostly cares about what happens when the dose is very high or given in giant bolus hits. Your body tightly regulates calcium. When vitamin D drives calcium too high, electric signals in the heart can misfire, which is why severe hypercalcemia is linked to irregular rhythms. Large randomized trials designed to see whether vitamin D prevents heart attacks have not shown a clear reduction in major heart events for the general population, which argues against more must be better. Your safest route: if you supplement, stick to doses appropriate for your blood level and goals, not internet megadoses. Practical check. If you've been taking a high dose for months without a blood test, ask your clinician about checking your 25-hydroxy vitamin D and calcium, and avoid the weekend warrior megadose unless it was specifically prescribed. Classic mistake to avoid: taking a multivitamin, an immune formula, and a separate D softgel, all in the same day because each label alone looks reasonable. Now, niacin, vitamin B3, often marketed for cholesterol. Decades ago, niacin looked promising for boosting HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. But when researchers tested high-dose prescription-strength niacin on top of modern statin therapy, the results were sobering. The big heart outcomes didn't improve, and side effects went up, including concerns about blood sugar, liver stress, gout, and uncomfortable flushing. That's not a verdict against all niacin forever. It's a caution against the idea that a vitamin label guarantees benign effects at gram-level doses. Practical check. Scan your cholesterol support or energy blends. Some tuck sustained-release niacin inside at levels that push into prescription territory. If you're already on a statin, talk with your clinician before adding niacin just to move a lab number that doesn't translate into fewer events. Common mistake: chasing a higher HDL with high-dose niacin and assuming if the lab number goes up, the risk must go down. Let's talk about Biotin, Vitamin B7, found in many hair, skin, and nail gummies. Biotin isn't directly harming your heart. The risk is sneakier. Biotin can interfere with certain hospital lab assays that use biotin streptavidin technology. One of the most important cardiac blood tests, troponin, can register falsely low if you've recently taken high-dose biotin. That can mislead emergency teams in the early hours of a heart attack, delaying life-saving decisions. The fix is simple. Tell your care team you take biotin, and, unless a clinician says otherwise, pause high-dose biotin 48-72 hours before planned lab work. Practical check. Read the label of your beauty supplements. Many contain 5,000 to 10,000 micrograms, 5 to 10 mg per serving. Mistake to avoid, assuming it's just a hair vitamin, so it won't affect blood tests. Vitamin K next, K1 and K2, because of its dance with warfarin, a common blood thinner. Vitamin K helps your liver produce clotting factors. Warfarin reduces that activity. When your vitamin K intake swings wildly from supplements or sudden diet changes, your clotting test, the INR, can swing too, tipping you toward clotting or bleeding. The heart connection is indirect but important. People with atrial fibrillation or mechanical valves rely on stable INR to prevent strokes. Practical check. If you take warfarin, don't suddenly start a vitamin K supplement or a hefty K2 bone formula without coordination. Instead, aim for consistent K intake from day to day and let your care team adjust the warfarin dose. Mistake to avoid. Thinking vitamin K2 is natural, so it can't affect a prescription. Consistency is the key, not zero intake. Vitamin A, specifically preformed vitamin A like retinol or retinol palmitate, deserves a spotlight too. It's essential for vision and immune function, but at high doses, it can raise triglycerides, strain the liver, and, ironically, create a metabolic landscape that doesn't help your cardiovascular system. Retinol is also fat-soluble, so it accumulates. Common stacking pattern, a multivitamin plus cod liver oil plus a skin supplement, each contributing preformed A. Practical check. If you use cod liver oil, make sure you're not layering a multivitamin heavy in vitamin A on top of it. Consider switching to a fish oil product without added A if you need omega-3s. Mistake to avoid. Assuming the vitamin A line on the label is always beta-carotene, preformed retinol behaves differently. Finally, the pattern behind a lot of these problems, fat-soluble stacking, A, D, E, and K, quietly adding up across different bottles. You don't feel it day to day, and there's no buzzer that goes off when you cross a safe threshold. But because your body stores these, the risks often accumulate slowly. Heavier bruising, higher calcium, subtle liver stress, or interactions with medications. Practical check. Build a simple tally. Write the name of each fat-soluble vitamin down the left side of a page. A, D, E, K. Across the top, write the names of your products. Now add the daily totals. If any single vitamin shows up in 3 or more bottles, you've likely found an easy win. Consolidate or switch to a multivitamin that keeps these in modest amounts and let your meals carry the rest. If that reminded you of someone, maybe you, here's a simple plan you can act on today. Step 1. Make a clean list of everything you take, including brand, dose, and how often. Don't forget fortified drinks and gummies. Step 2. Circle the fat-soluble vitamins and any niacin above normal multivitamin levels. Then cut accidental duplicates and drop standalones that have no clear purpose. Step 3. Bring the list to your doctor or pharmacist and ask 3 pointed questions. Should I have any labs checked given these doses? Do any of these interact with my prescriptions or conditions? And if I truly need a supplement, what's the lowest effective dose for me? That conversation turns a risky guessing game into a tailored plan. Before we wrap, a few quick myth fixes you can share. But vitamin D cured my friend's fatigue, so more must be better. What likely happened is that they corrected a deficiency. Beyond repletion, Pushing higher doesn't keep helping and can create new problems. Your body likes a normal range. I take vitamin E, so I don't need blood thinners. Antioxidants don't substitute for evidence-based therapies. In some trials, high-dose E was associated with more heart failure admissions. Biotin is harmless because it's water-soluble. Water-soluble vitamins can still trigger real-world issues. Biotin can scramble certain lab tests at precisely the moment accuracy matters most, and K2 is only about bones. It's also about clotting biology. If you're on warfarin, consistency of K intake is a safety feature, not a nuisance. You might be thinking, if the risks are real, shouldn't everyone avoid these? Not necessarily. There are valid medical reasons for some people to take specific vitamins at specific doses for a specific time, under supervision. The danger comes from autopilot, taking large doses just in case, adding a trendy bottle because it went viral, or assuming every natural product is inherently gentle. When in doubt, get your levels checked, personalize the plan, and keep the focus on diet. Vegetables, fruits, legumes, nuts, seeds, quality proteins, whole grains, and the healthy fats that come attached to real foods. Let me stitch the evidence into the story so it's not just my voice. A follow-up analysis to a major heart outcomes trial, published in a top medical journal, found that long-term high-dose vitamin E was linked to more heart failure hospitalizations, cautioning against high-dose high protection. Large modern trials testing niacin on top of statins didn't deliver extra heart attack protection and increased side effects, which is why many cardiologists no longer favor routine high-dose niacin for event prevention. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has warned that biotin can interfere with lab tests, including cardiac troponin, the blood marker emergency teams rely on to detect heart muscle damage. And the National Institutes of Health notes that while vitamin D is important, excess can cause high calcium, which in turn can lead to rhythm problems. For many adults without a medical indication, very high doses haven't translated into fewer heart events. For warfarin users, the NIH also emphasizes steady vitamin K intake rather than extremes, and for preformed vitamin A, both the NIH and clinical reviews highlight liver and lipid effects at higher exposures. Different journals and agencies, same theme. Dose and context decide whether a vitamin helps or harms. Here's how to make it practical this week. Choose one day, say Sunday afternoon, and do a 15-minute supplement audit. Place every bottle on the table. For each, answer, why am I taking this? What dose? For how long? Who recommended it? Then check for these 4 things. Is there more than one fat-soluble vitamin appearing across bottles? Am I taking niacin above what a basic multivitamin provides? Do I use biotin, and do I have any lab tests coming up? Am I on warfarin or another medication that could interact with K or E? If you find any red flags, make one change today. Consolidate to a single multivitamin with modest amounts, or pause a non-essential high-dose vitamin until you can discuss it with your clinician. Use your phone to snap a photo of labels so your healthcare team can see the exact doses. A few small signals your body might give if you've crossed a line: easier bruising or nosebleeds when you've been generous with vitamin E, new palpitations or muscle weakness when vitamin D and calcium intake shoot up, flushing, itching, or changes in blood sugar after starting high-dose niacin, and confusing lab results if you had a beauty vitamin gummy the day of a blood draw. None of these prove a vitamin is the cause, but in context they're clues, especially when they line up with a dosing change. On the flip side, there's plenty you can do that is both heart-friendly and supplement-sane. If you want omega-3s, focus on fish twice a week or a purified fish oil product without extra vitamin A added. For vitamin D, combine modest supplementation, if needed, with sunlight exposure and diet, and adjust based on a blood test rather than trends. For skin, hair, and nails, give protein intake, iron stores if you're deficient, and overall diet the first shot before leaning on high-dose biotin. And if your goal is general health, a well-balanced multivitamin with conservative doses can serve as a safety net, not a performance enhancer. Let's land this with a 1-minute action plan you can screenshot. 1. Write down every supplement, dose, and frequency. 2. Cross out duplicate fat-soluble vitamins and any niacin above basic levels unless a clinician advised it. 3. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about labs, vitamin D level, calcium, liver enzymes, INR if on warfarin, and drug supplement interactions, and bring label photos. This is how you turn vague worry into a clear, safer routine. Recap in a breath: more isn't better. Fat-soluble vitamins accumulate. Biotin can fool critical heart labs. Niacin at high doses hasn't delivered the heart benefits people hoped for, and consistency beats extremes if you're on warfarin. Spot the pattern, make the small corrections, and you can keep the benefits of smart nutrition without gambling on megadoses. Noticing now can mean more healthy years for the moments and people you care about most. If this helped, comment with the supplement that surprised you the most, share this with someone who takes multiple vitamins, and subscribe for the follow-up where we walk through safer dose ranges and how to read labels like a pro. Ethical note to close: use this information to guide a personalized conversation. Don't stop prescribed medicines or start high-dose vitamins without medical advice.